it was pretty much the same there in New Glasgow as it was probably anywhere else in the province. Certainly with the black community, people knew it was there. People always knew it was there, but according to the Times, it was certainly never talked about. As a matter of fact, there was one particular person in our neighborhood, in our black community, who everybody knew was gay, but he was totally accepted. Now, the reason, I'm sure there were a number of reasons, but one of the reasons was because he was an extremely nice person, likable person. He played the piano both in church and outside, and was very, very, admired for that in the community. So there was like an unwritten what do I call it? Agreement that it wouldn't be talked about. There were here and there little references, little ways of saying things that you knew that people were admitting while not admitting that they knew that the person was gay. But like I say, he was so accepted by everybody. Now, there was another thing that was not peculiar, but certainly noticed by a number of us in the community, and that was how the older folk referred to what we would now call very clear examples that people knew the sexual preferences of people. There were code words, like, for instance, he's a bachelor. Mm-hmm. Now, this would be applied to someone who probably was over 40. They became a bachelor. Now, that was a code word, and that was accepted by all the folks because it was deemed by the elders. And, of course, for a woman, it was, she's a spinster. Now, or if it was someone was two men were living together and had been living together for a very long time. Same thing with two women. Well, one was a helper. That's their helper. You see, and so us growing up, we cottoned on to these things. And once again, these people were very, very, very respected in the community. Certainly, they would be people that would be in the church all the time, and on some unspoken about level, there was just this understanding that these two people, two men, two women, whatever, were living out a life that was different from. But nobody ever talked about the difference. It was just something that you came to understand. That was the way that it was when I was growing up. I mean, I've known about research, oh, good heavens, since I was, young, 8, 9. But it never it never caused me any kind of concern or anything. But because of all these other unspoken things that I've referred to, I knew that it was something that you just didn't talk about. So I didn't talk about it. But I never had any kind of angst about it whatsoever. Never have. I was in grade 7, 1954, and it was time for auditions for the Christmas play. And I was asked to audition by my English teacher, and I did. And after the audition, the teachers who were going to decide on who was going to play what roles, they stayed at their little table, and there was sort of like we were in the gymnasium, and so around them there was this sort of like wall type thing that had been set up. And so anyway, I walked behind it, and when I left the audition, and I went to the washroom, which was just behind where they were, and then I started back to my class, but they didn't know I had gone to the washroom, and they were obscured from seeing me because of this barrier thing that was up. And so I was walking past them on my way back to my classroom, and I heard one of the teachers say, well, Walter definitely gave the best audition. He'd be wonderful in it, but of course, the role is Santa Claus, and that's all I had to hear. I just continued on and went to my room, and I was given a role in the play, but it was not that role, but I had heard what I had heard. And I was 12 then, and it had a stinging, ringing effect on me. I knew exactly what was being said, although it was the first time that I had heard it said. It's like hearing nigger for the first time. You don't even know what the word is, but it hits, and it goes to that place. And so I didn't tell anybody about it. I never talked about it aloud for many years. But I know that it was a signature moment for me. And when I think about now and all the things that I can talk about with respect to blacks in the arts and certainly in the theater in this country, I know that there is, again, there is the link for me, the arc for me from that afternoon in 1954 right to now. And there was shaping of my mind all the way along, which is why when I was the only professional black actor east of Montreal for a number of years, my whole thing was about using the philosophy that I had developed, which came out of my earlier experiences, that it was fully developed and shaped when I was with Quacha House and Nova Scotia Project, and carried that over into the artistic side. The two have always, for me, gone side by side, and right to this very moment, so that I won't do anything artistically that in any way is a dramatic shift from what my philosophy has been all my life. I won't do it. I won't do commercials unless they are specific kind of commercials that advances what I believe in. And I get a lot of conversation about that. I had one just the other day. And I tell people, I don't judge my friends or anything or else from what they feel they have to do. I only have to live for me. And the one thing that I will not have and cannot have is for somebody who has known me all my life to be able to say, from seeing me do something artistically that flies in the face of what I have told them and what I've lived by all my life, and have them say, I sold out. That will never happen.